Jay, when we get to the start of the Sports Moron segment, I'm gonna text you something. Hello, everybody, and welcome into the Gauntlet. It's the three amigos tonight. I'm with JJ and Denzel Snipes, home of Sideline Sports Network, home of the Gauntlet. We got a lot of things to talk about tonight. A lot of crazy things happen, not only in the NFL, but also in sports. Really excited for tonight's show, tonight's episode. Fellas, how we doing? It's Friday. How was the week? How you guys feeling right now?
Week's been pretty good. Something unique that we actually are doing here, ladies and gentlemen. To those of y'all who may have seen my tweet and you see the headlines, we are extending Sports Warren for an entire episode because this is going to be must-see TV. There was so much buffoonery that happened this week. Like, we're going to get to it very shortly. But other than that, doing good, fellas.
I just did not expect to see all the buffoonery, as you put it. JJ, how we feeling tonight?
Oh, I'm chill. I'm chilling. I really don't know what to expect for the show, so I'm just chilling.
He's just rolling with the
Gotcha.
punches.
Well, life is full of surprises, so we'll just have to be surprised and see what happens. All right.
Yep.
So let's start the show with everybody's favorite segment. Or you can debate which segment is your favorite. But some people's favorite is Gauntlet Grinders. We look at the NFL players from last week who was on their grind. So let's get to it, shall we? I'm going to go to the AFC, and I'm going to go to Jameis Winston, who threw this sweet touchdown pass late in the game against the Baltimore Ravens. Hits his man, and a big upset win for the Browns. Jameis Winston over 335 yards passing on the day. Good game for him as the Browns get back in the win column. And then in the NFC, for the first time this season, come on down, Mr. Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts dropping a deep ball right in the basket to Devontae Smith against the Cincinnati Bengals. And 3 straight games with Jalen Hurts, no turnovers. We were talking about the turnovers early in the season. Can he clean it up? He's looking more like the 2022 Jalen Hurts that was in the discussion for the MVP, and he's looking really good. Big win for the Eagles as well. So Jameis Winston and Jalen Hurts, 2 quarterbacks for me. Which one of you guys, whichever one of you guys wants to take it, feel free.
I'll go. Hey, can you do me a favor and play that clip of Winston to Tillman's one more again?
Sure.
Yep, there's Winston, famous Jameis, and there's Tillman's running free behind the defense because my AFC Gauntlet grinder is Cedric Tillman's. 7 receptions for 99 yards and 2 touchdown grabs, including the game-winning touchdown. The Cleveland Browns look like a totally different team. And I know some people could say, like, well, they had no business winning the game. Well, it's Browns-Ravens. They always get up for each other. These games in the AFC North tend to have the potential to end dramatically. And Jameis Winston went out there and put on the show, and so did Cedric Tillman. And Tillman having the breakout performance that he did definitely netted AFC Gauntlet Grinder for myself. In the NFC, I'm actually going to go with running back Josh Jacobs. 25 carries for 127, 2 touchdown carries, 5.1 yards per carry. Josh Jacobs, especially with the injury that happened to Jordan Love early in the game, he's not Music City Malik anymore. He's Milwaukee Malik, I guess. Well, anyway. But Josh Jacobs, acquisition from the Raiders, picked up right where he left off from coming over on the Raiders squad. Been a more than solid running back for the Green Bay Packers, keeping them alive in the NFC North. So those are my 2 gauntlet grinders. JJ, what do you got?
Isn't it kind of crazy because I'm just on chill mode right now? I don't even have one. I'm just real chill right now. I don't even have a grinder, so y'all
Well,
got
just
it.
well, just think of somebody real quick. Like you usually can come up with somebody on the spot that deserves it.
You got any feedback for the choices that we even put out?
I'm trying to tell y'all I'm on chill mode. I ain't got nothing. I'm real chill right now. I don't really have anything. I know. I don't know what it is. I'm just kind of coasting tonight. Maybe I'll get into it, but I don't have anything.
Okay. Well, okay. Okay. Well, what about any thoughts about Kittle's performance against the Cowboys? He had 6 receptions for 128 and a touchdown.
Oh, well, fantastic. I mean, I didn't. What I'm saying is, this week has been so different for me that I haven't even paid attention to too much. So that's what I'm saying. I'm good. I really don't have a grinder, and I really don't have like an opinion on anybody because that's just not where I've been right now. That makes sense. That's what I'm saying. I'm
Okay.
just chilling. I'm gonna get into the flow, but I don't really have one.
Okay.
How about
Okay.
this? Cowboy X Factor has a comment about your team. How does Kyle Hamilton not catch that interception on the play before and Justin Tucker missed a field goal in that game? So some missed opportunities for the Ravens.
Just bad luck, honestly. Because at the end of the day, what else can you do? He caught the football, and then he didn't catch the football. I mean, it's just bad luck. It's nothing, anything that I could sit here and look at that game and be like, okay, I don't have any.
So you don't think
I
Ravens
don't,
should be worried about anything?
not at all. I agree with Cam Newton 1,000% when he said today, he's like, every good team is going to go through its peaks and valleys. It's like, if you look at the Ravens games, they were a toe away from going to overtime. The Raiders had to come back from behind to beat them, and now the Browns actually had to come back from behind to beat them, and then they had an interception on that drive that could have been dropped. There's nothing in the negation that I can look at my season and think that I have anything to worry about because I expect it's not going to be easy. Like I still think my team is just as good as it was before all this stuff happens, and at the end of the day, yeah.
That's totally fair. Guys, when we come back, we're going to talk about our favorite, or maybe your favorite, the sports moron of the week. And trust me, there's a lot to get to.
Yeah.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the sports moron of the week, the dumbest moments, dumbest takes in sports. Guys, I don't even know how crazy this week was, but so
Yeah.
many crazy things just took place, and it just feel like it never stopped. So I don't even really know where to start. So Denzel, I'm going to turn it to you.
Okay.
Who's your sports moron of the week this week?
So, and you know what? We're gonna play the clip here in just a second. Let's just go ahead and knock the elephant out the room right now. Bears defensive back Tyreek Stevenson. Now, I, I just for the record here. Now, oh, hey, can you take the banner off the screen real quick? Okay, you can see him in the bottom right. He's actually taunting the fans. Hey, you gotta play. You gotta play. What? Oh no, I'm too late. Am I late? No, I'm not. Here I come. Here I come. No, okay. Look. Now, for the record, he has talked to the team and he has come out on Twitter and he has taken accountability. And good on him. Really good on him. He owned it. But here at the Sideline Sports Department of Corrections, you still must do your time. Sports moron of the week. How do you? This is the reason why coaches say it ain't over until triple zeros, okay? You call yourself taunting the fans, and then not only are you a little bit late to the play, you of those sea of hands, you had to be the hand that tipped the ball to Noah Brown. Coach Matt Eberflus actually said after the game that his job was to box Noah Brown out. So not only did you blow your assignment, you happened to be the hand that tipped the ball that was caught by Noah Brown. That right there. Whoo.
Let
If
me
they
jump in on that real quick with you on that, just for the simple fact of because he just had another layer. If his job was to box Noah Brown out, and then he went into to tip the ball out, he really wasn't paying attention to the play. And that alone, to your point, everyone knows if there's one thing you look at a head coach and they all are unanimous in what they say about how they feel about this play, it's the Hail Mary play where you mess up, you got some. If you do something like that, you got an issue because you just showed bravado, and this team lost the game. And he thinking he's confident, but don't realize his team lost the game and then dropped to last in their division. So now, not only did you lose a game, you put them in a position now they have to try to catch up to people when they were already in that position in the first place. They're just further back. Yeah, he. I'm just sitting there like, yeah, but you've been chirping at. He had been chirping at them the whole game. He and Scary Terry had been going back and forth. So he was cocky. God humbled him, sure did, and for him, he has to take the fact that he got benched. That was just it. Just was one of those things. It was just like,
Yeah.
this is takes something to where he's going to have some type of monster game to bounce back from this because everybody on this panel knows if this were like the Belichick led Patriots, he'd be on a trade block. No, screw
I
being
don't know.
he'd have been on the trade block like this. You
Things
can't.
like things like this can be very negative for a team because you're just gonna have this play in this moment just kind of hanging over you for the season.
Yeah.
And this is what people are going to continue to talk about. So I think the problem that I have is why are you still having your back turned and chirping at the fans while the ball is snapped? Basically doing that while the play is still going on. So I don't got a problem with you chirping at the fans and stuff like between plays. But until it's all zeros, you got to be locked in and paying attention. So the fact that he wasn't, he kind of deserved. Like, they deserved to lose a game in which the fashion they did, which Chicago Bears is a franchise, let's be honest. There's not many other teams that you can say, yeah, we expect them to lose a game like this. Chicago Bears is one of those teams.
Yeah, and I mean, say what you will about Caleb Williams, but Tariq Stevenson robbed him of his first career game-winning drive. I'm not going to sit here and say that Caleb played superb. He didn't, but he also didn't lose them the game neither. And this is what I'm talking about. Like robbing your, like when you cost your team, you cost your teammates. Because again, he was the one that tipped the ball. He also blew his assignment on a Hail Mary, not a regular coverage play. He didn't get a defensive pass interference or a defensive holding or anything like that on a Hail Mary. I can like we people blow assignments in coverage like all the time, right? How do you blow your assignment on a Hail Mary? Like you would think the least complicated like of plays. And the crazy part about it is no one talks about the play before when the Bears basically gave them like 15 more yards so Daniels could get to the 50 and then heave the ball toward the end zone. Tony Romo called the whole thing. There was a guy that was left uncovered. Now, to the Bears' credit, they likely were thinking either A, the Hail Mary was going to come on that play, or B, they left that guy open because they thought they were going to do some River City relay business, and they get to tossing the ball around. They can kind of close in and stop them. But no, they allowed a wide open 15-yard completion. Guy runs out of bounds at the 50, and then the rest is history. But with Tyreek Stevenson, yeah, brother, this I agree. This is gonna hang over you. You got to have a monster game. I mean, you better have like 2 pick-sixes in a game or a game sealing interception or something, because that's the only way that you can halfway come back from this. And that's all I got.
I don't know if I agree with that. I think if you work hard enough, you can rebound from every mistake. You just learned a horrible lesson. I don't think it's as. I think maybe that be a little bit too far out there because at the end of the day, he made a big mistake. But it doesn't think that it's like one of those things where it's like the end all be all. All you gotta do is just show that you are not going to make that same mistake again. So if the Hail Mary comes into another situation, just do your job. That's it. I don't think it's that serious. I think it's probably that serious because it's so funny and it's gone viral. But I don't think it's that big of a deal. I just think it's one of those things like, yeah, you're young. You was talking that talk. If that's your personality, but at the same time, this is what comes with it. So if you're going to continue to be that player, just make sure the play is over with. Once the play is over, then go back and talk to them. But I don't think it's like anything that crazy. I mean, at the end of the day, it's no different from, I think, Deshaun Jackson celebrating a touchdown and then fumbled the football and then they missed and stuff. Or I think any other players that's done this stuff. So it's like, you better bonehead move. But it ain't, I don't think it's that crazy now. Like, it's just one of those things like, it's funny because it's like, wow, you're the one that messed it up. But I think in a week or 2 weeks from now, he'll be back in the starting lineup doing things, no problem. This is just a 1 week lesson to sit there and figure out what you need to do better. Because they are 5-3 or 4-5-3.
Yeah, I think they're like 5-3.
So I think it's funny, but I ain't think that bad. I'm just like, okay. You learn.
All right. JJ, you got anything on your mind at the moment, or you want me to do something? As far as this segment, do you got anything that took place in the last couple of days that's just on your mind? But
no.
Okay. All right. Well, let's stay in the NFL, and I'm going to play another clip for us to react to. Something that took place in the Indianapolis Colts versus the Houston Texans on Sunday.
Tired, I ain't gonna lie. That was a lot of running right there, what I did, and I don't think I was gonna be able to go that next play. So I just, just told Sam I just needed a break right there.
So if you guys have not been keeping up with the whole story, on Sunday, I think it was on 2nd and goal or 3rd and goal, Anthony Richardson asked to be subbed out of the game. It was a tight game where the Houston Texans narrowly got the win over the Colts. But I just have a huge problem with Anthony Richardson doing this. You know, how do you think his teammates are going to perceive him after big game, tight game, and then you ask to be taken out? Not because you're hurt, not because you're, injured yourself, because you're tired. His teammates are going to lose respect for him. And this is not a good look when you have that C on your chest, which he does. Even as young as he is, he has got that C on his chest. And when you have that C on your chest, you're the franchise quarterback. That comes with a lot of accountability and a standard that you got to hold yourself to, which his performance and his play isn't really matching up to that either. And this doesn't help the situation at all. So in response, head coach James Tatum announced that Joe Flacco will be the starting quarterback going forward, not only for this week, but for the most likely for the remainder of the season. Wasn't a good look at all, and I just don't think that this is the type of stuff that you want to do when you're the leader of the team, you're the quarterback of the team, franchise quarterback, face of the franchise. Not good stuff from Anthony Richardson.
All right, so I want to jump in on this one because I think what's going to happen is it's going to be a definite on top of piling on this because, again, I think this is truthfully because of how I try to live my life now and all the mistakes I've made. I ain't got no problem with what he said because I'd rather you be honest than lie. That's just me personally. But what I realized is in this world, it's been okay to lie about something like that. Now, I think in tune with that, I think that's where the response came from Shane Steichen, and I don't blame him for benching him because at the end of the day, he's just probably in the same mindset that most people are on about the situation. Now, for me, because what I would sit there and say is there are some people out there that would still stick with the dude and be like, all right, you made a move. You said this. It's not good, but I'm your coach. I'm going to believe in you, and it's going to be hard, but you're going to work your way past this. Shane may not be that type of coach, but when everybody's sitting out there and they're like, it's okay to lie and stuff, when I wasn't learning the things I was learning, I can understand that. I would agree with that. Now that I'm learning the things that I'm learning and the way that I'm trying to implement it in my life and the results that's come around, I know he'll be okay. It may not be now. It may not be a month from now. It may not be a week from now, a year from now. But he will be all right. He will get a chance to be somewhere else. It may not be in Indianapolis, and that's okay. So my message to Anthony Richardson is Whatever you're going through right now, just let it go through right now. People are allowed to react how they're going to react. It may be something that's bothersome from them, but there's going to be one person in the NFL. Somebody's going to be in the NFL and be like, you know what? We believe in you. We're going to give you that shot because they're going to have a different mentality. But at the end of the day, it's bad, and I get why it's considered moronic because I once had that same thinking. I really did. I would have been right there with y'all, been like, dang, man, you really just said that? Like, you could have just sat there. But again, transformation, I was just like, yeah, I know it's going to sting, but hey, he ain't lie. If he just didn't lie, and it's just, I know he is. Well, I like to read up on the character of these people before I decide to even say something. And I know the character that he has displayed from what I've seen about him in Florida. So I get why he ain't got no problem with him saying it because he'd rather be the same way. I don't need to lie about anything. It's the truth. And at the end of the day, if you want to judge me for it, that's fine. But it doesn't mean your judgments is going to stop me from ever getting a chance again. So I'm going to be who I am because my commitment to who I am, about who I serve and love, is more important than anybody else's opinion of me. And so I get
Right.
it.
Well, I don't want to say that I think he should never have a chance ever because of this, but
No, but
saying,
people like Chase
I'm
Daniel
saying,
has said that. Like Chase Daniel has said that. He was really like,
just put yourself in, just put it to yourself like this. Look at the top quarterbacks in the league. Look at your guy. Look at Lamar Jackson. If Lamar Jackson came to John Harbaugh and told him, take me out of the game, I'm tired. How do you think that would go? Like, everyone would be saying, no, Lamar, you're the 2-time league MVP. You're the guy.
You know, to be honest with you, I'll show you a clip. Lamar, he said, they asked him, what is the driving force of you getting to who you are? He's like, the Lord. I thank the Lord of everything, so I don't care what happens to me, good or bad, because I know the Lord got me. So to answer your question, he has a similar thinking to me on this one. And he has said before when he's in interviews, he had been tired during the games, but he kept pushing out. The difference is
exactly.
But I think it's
because that's what leaders do.
No, but you're missing the point. If he was tired and asked to leave out, he wouldn't be dishonest about it if somebody asked about it. Because again, anyone's opinion of that, yeah, it may sting in the physical sense or the emotional sense at the time. But as I just said, and this is something that more so is how I understand it. When you go and you have a certain understanding with the Lord, he said it. The Lord, he doesn't put nobody's opinion of him over what the Lord thinks of him. So he would say, yeah, I asked to leave because I was tired. He'd take the heat. I would take the heat. Honestly, if I was in that same situation, I would just take the heat too. And I've done it in my own job when I've taken the heat for stuff. I've had embarrassing moments happen to me and people knew about it. I was at work one time and I smelled like a homeless person. Everyone at the branch knew about it. And everyone sat there and talked to me about it. Did it stop me? No. So in this situation, I can understand where you're coming from, 1,000%. But what I'm saying is I can understand why he said it. I can absolutely understand why he said it. That's all I'm saying.
I don't have a problem with whatever he said, but I have a problem with what he did. And what I'm saying is Lamar Jackson's not going to do this.
No, but what he said
because Lamar Jackson's a leader. He's going to push through it. When you're the leader, when you're franchise quarterback, you don't run to the coach and tell him, take me out of the game, I'm tired. You don't do that. You just don't. But I want to give Jay the opportunity to give his thoughts. So, Jay, you got it.
I'm sorry, but this would be the one time that where it's totally okay to lie. Listen, you could have said a sniper took a shot at you, and I would have accepted it. Okay, you don't just say, "Yo, I was tired, man. I was tired." No, and consider the situation. It was a goal-to-go situation. Like, this is your chance to pull ahead in the ball game. Then on top of that, then this was really tripped out. So Joe Flacco comes in for one, and Wyatt is my witness because he watched the game. Joe Flacco comes in for one play. You know what he did? Hand off to Jonathan Taylor. So if you really needed a breather, you couldn't do the same thing? Hand off to Jonathan Taylor. Yeah.
I mean, I get where y'all coming from, but I'm just going to say, I know we won't agree on it. Like, I get exactly where you're coming from. I think that's the one thing I want to understand. I said, everything you're saying, James, everything you're saying, Denzel, I 1,000% was saying if I'm understand where you're coming from. So essentially, if I was to sit here and say I would disagree with it, I'd be lying because
Okay.
at some point in time in my life, I could agree. But what I'm saying is, I get it. I totally get it. And I totally get, and that's why I just said her. This is the one thing that I think that people learn is that what people's opinion of you at this point in time, yeah, it's going to sting. But the truth of the matter is, no matter what nobody says is, 2 years from now, they can forget all about it. Or they can sit here and use it as, think about the guy that went from that and he grew up and became this. This is not the end all be all. So it may be right now, but I know for a fact, a couple years from now, nobody even going to think about it. And if he does well and continues to progress, which he may hopefully gets a chance to do so, ain't nobody going to think about it because you can change, you can grow, you can get better, you can become that leader that these other quarterbacks that we are talking about are. There's a lot of things that they don't say that could actually be going on. And so at the end of the day, there's some ugly things that go on out there. They talk about all the time. Just because he told honest about it doesn't mean that those other guys aren't the same people he is. There could be plenty other guys, other star players that actually did that, but they lied. But it's okay because they lied. But it doesn't dismiss the fact that they still checked out. What it's telling is we care about what people say as opposed to what they, because we know we believe what they say because it's something we hear, but it could be any of us lying. So I could lie and everything, but I could be that person. We could be cheering on Derrick Henry right now, and he subs out every game because he's tired, but he lies. But if he lies, it's okay. I'm just saying I understand why he didn't lie, and I'm okay with it too, and I wouldn't be no problem taking the heat. That's all I'm saying.
And you know what, James? I'm also going to I'm going to kind of split this one, okay? And I hope I'm making sense. So, as far as this incident goes, I'm going to give 90% sports moron of this to Anthony Richardson and 10% to Coach Shane Steichen, and here's why. Now, to those who saw the game, the Texans defense did have Anthony Richardson running for his life, okay? And I totally understand, and that's what we are here for. We're holding him accountable for quitting and coming out of the game for a play because he's tired. But also, why is it that a quarterback with a 44.4% completion percentage throwing the ball 32 times in that game, and you got Jonathan Taylor in the backfield, who typically has a career day against Houston? Wyatt is my witness once again. Why is he slinging the ball as much? As a matter of fact, I'm going to take you through the first possession of the Indianapolis Colts. It was all throws. So throw, incomplete. Throw, screen to Taylor, first down. Throw, incomplete, field goal. The first 5 offensive plays for the Colts were pass plays. And you got JT in the backfield. So I'm going to put 10% of this on Shane Steichen also. It almost is like he's trying to prove something. And it's like, look, you better do what works. I totally get it once again. Anthony Richardson is 90% of this sports moron, but I got to throw some blame on the coach as well. Because that play calling, I'm glad he did that because my team won. But from a totally unbiased source, I don't get it. I didn't get the play calling. All right, JT, you got it, man.
All right, we're going to stay in the NFL with the Dallas Cowboys once again. It seems like the Cowboys are always a topic of discussion on the show. Another loss to the San Francisco 49ers. Defense allowed 3 straight touchdown drives in the third quarter. Game just kind of got away from them. Dak Prescott, a couple interceptions. But we've had Jerry Jones brought up a lot, but Stephen Jones had some comments, and he doesn't really seem too concerned with the team. Let's take a listen.
Oh, I mean, I just think, this team's made up of a lot of the same players that won 12 games the 3 prior seasons. I think it's, right now we're just going through adversity. We've had more than our share of injuries. It feels like this year, especially on the defensive side of the ball, coupled, with the new staff and a new scheme. So on the defensive side, I do think we've got really good football players. It's a matter of getting them executing together and getting after it. But no, I think we've got, really good football players. And at times, we've had spurts where we played well. And obviously at times we're not playing well.
Man, this just screams to me that this is what the Cowboys' problem is. Accountability. You're talking about, we had all these players last year that won 12 games. It's a year-to-year league. You can win the Super Bowl and go to being an average team. You got to be consistent when you're trying to build a roster that's going to compete. You can't just rely on last year and just act like everything's fine. And that's what happened to the Cowboys this offseason. You saw all these teams making moves, especially in the division. Eagles were very active in free agency in the draft. Commanders were active in free agency in the draft. The Cowboys weren't. So the other teams got better, and you stayed the same. So what result do you think that's going to bring? So I just think that the Cowboys fan base is delusional. Most of the people high up in the organization, Jerry Jones and Stephen Jones, pretty delusional. And the Cowboys are just a mess. And they're just unraveling. We're used to the Cowboys being good, and then they just kind of fall apart when it comes to the playoffs. But this team may not even get there with how everything's looking. They're unraveling. They're unraveling. And you have Trayvon Diggs, who's screaming at reporters in the hallway.
Took from that? Out of that whole play, that's what you took from that? You don't know football. You can't do nothing that I do. You can't go out there and do nothing. Stay in your lane, buddy. Stop playing me, bro.
Just asking a question, Trayvon. I mean, I'm happy to have you answer the question.
Out of that whole play, that's what you took for that? That's what you got from that whole play, that's what you got from that?
I'm asking you. We can talk about it more. What were you doing then?
So, to be fair, Trayvon has since apologized to the reporter, but it's just an example. You're focusing on the wrong things. You are focused on the noise.
Do you think they're quitting?
Do I think they're quitting? No, I don't think they're quitting. I just think that this team is unraveling a lot earlier than what we're used to seeing. So, when I look at the Cowboys' upcoming games, they got 2 tough games. They're already 3-4. I think they're staring in the face of 3-6 because you got the Atlanta Falcons this week and then next week Philadelphia. So they could lose both of those games and be 3-6. So I think the Cowboys need to win both just to kind of stay alive because the way things are looking and going, this team could easily miss the playoffs.
With the Cowboys, and my bad, I'll say this and I'll let you go. He says that he said we're going through adversity right now. Translation: teams have started to figure us out. Plain and simple. James or JJ, one of you two did not have the Cowboys even winning 10 games this year. It may have been.
I may have them making the playoffs before the season.
Making the playoffs, yeah. This is going to be. We got a tough slate coming up because you mentioned they got Atlanta and they got Philadelphia. They've got Houston. They've also still got 2 Commanders games. So the Cowboys' schedule is pretty backloaded. So they better get it together real quick. But go ahead, JJ. I'm sorry, man.
It's funny how this media world, we just got on Anthony Richardson for being honest, and now we're telling them that they're lying. You see how the human mind is kind of hypocritical on how they feel? We pretty much are okay with people doing things that we often agree with. Not saying you, James, because your opinion definitely was very similar between the two. But I'm talking about the whole world. So what do you want? You want them to lie? You want them to tell the truth? Because if they're sitting there telling a lie to you, they're buying into what you want Anthony Richardson to do. But when Anthony Richardson's honest about it, you guys are going to sit there and jeopardize him about that. So I love this about that because it's like, wow, he's just doing what y'all want him and other people to do. So now you don't want it either way. And so at the end of the day, he doing what everybody would tell them else to do. He going to make it seem like they cool because they don't want y'all to know what's going on between it. Because, again, when somebody did do it, like Anthony Richardson is, he gets a certain pushback. We often cause these comments as a media. We often generate these people to do these things because we pick and choose what is awesome and what is great for us to jump on and what is fun to rag on. Because what he did ain't nothing what I've seen any other team that has been down in something. So what makes Dallas different, I'm not sure. But it is because maybe Jerry Jones is worse. Stephen Jones, when I listened to the clip, I didn't really think he said anything that was really trippy. I didn't even think I thought he was sitting there doing something that I'm like, well, that's what most coaches say. They all like, we're going to still figure it out. We're going to be okay, whatever. You got to do this because at the end of the day, they don't want to tell y'all the truth. They want to lie about it to what people say. And then you just translated what you thought he was saying, but it's like, that's another thing we do. We pick and decide this is what they mean because that's just us as humans. But I just find it so interesting that the media reacts to both situations different, but yet they used one reason to do one against the other and the other to do this one. So it's like, okay.
Two things real quick. Number one, the Cowboys front office is making excuses for not doing enough during the offseason. Remember, this is the same team that let Derrick Henry come to y'all, okay? And I know you're not complaining about that. But that's number one. Number two, yes, I can totally understand how it looks hypocritical, but I'll put it to you like this. You can take the worst quarterback in the league right now. Let's say Daniel Jones, okay? But one thing he hasn't done is quit on his team and said, hey, I can't play no more, you know? That's at least, you know, it's kind of like what Shannon Sharp said. He said, I understand if you can't make a play. I understand if you lacking today or whatever, but don't quit on me. That's how I'm talking about Anthony Richardson. That's how
he just said he was tired. He went back in the game, or he didn't get back in the game, but he just said he was tired. He just wanted to come out the series. He didn't say he was quit on this team. See, I think, again, we're telling people what we think they're doing. Because, again, you're proving what I'm saying. We will attribute what we want to believe in that situation as actually happened. He just said he was tired and he asked to get checked out for the game. He ain't quit. He just said, look, I'm tired. Let me get myself together and get back in. If he would quit and say, you know what, I'm walking out, he ain't do a Willie Beeman on any given Sunday or something like that. So I think, again, like I was like, quit. He didn't quit. He was pushed after he said he was tired. So it's like, either way, they're making excuses. That's just what you may feel is happening. But again, they're telling us what we want them to say. But no, we want them to be honest and tell them, hey, they're ragging, they're horrible, they're this and this, because it's an opinion we agree with. If it's something else, we're not going to want them to say that because it's an opinion we don't agree with. It really makes, it kind of always comes full circle with that. It's like, yeah, it's really what it happens. Like,
all the problems the Cowboys are having right now was totally predictable. We all could have said that. We all could have said before the season that we could see something like this happening. And I'm just going to talk about the Philadelphia Eagles for a second. So I'm just going to use it for an example. Because we see what Saquon Barkley has provided to the Eagles team. So as a team in the division, you cannot just allow a player like the Eagles to go out and get a player like this and you do nothing. So I can see why the criticism is there. Because the Cowboys have been talking about, Jerry Jones said they're all in, did absolutely nothing in the offseason to allow teams to get better, and now you see the Cowboys are where they are.
And you know what? By comparison, before, real quick, JJ, real quick, by comparison, to James's point, the year the Rams won it all, they went out and made all those moves, didn't they? They even traded for Stafford. And people said the Rams are all in. It ended in the Super Bowl. So how is it that you as an owner are like, yeah, the Cowboys are all in, and you did nothing in the offseason?
But you guys, again, we see what the issue is. Y'all issue is that they're not saying it to the media. Again, they're not being honest about something. But again, if you want to have that opinion agreed with, you also know it contradicts a possible other opinion people have in other situations. All I'm saying is just own it. Just own the fact that maybe we value opinions that we agree with, because it's not an issue that we don't. Obviously, we see there's problems with this team. The only reason why this became a sports moron is because he didn't say all the problems. He said act like everything was cool, which leads to another point. As I said, it's a moron because he had an opinion about his team I don't agree with.
He did the same thing his father would have done.
Okay, very true. That is exactly it. All I'm saying is, and I think this, I'm speaking not to y'all, more so speaking to like the mass media and the media world.
Okay.
If you're going to agree with one opinion, you have to be okay with people calling you out about your other opinion, because you're not being completely objective. You have to admit that sometimes maybe you do side with something. And it's like Lamar, it's like Stephen A. Smith the other day. He'll say in the postseason, if you lose to Patrick Mahomes, you get a pass. Then he in the same segment says Lamar Jackson doesn't get a pass because he lost to Patrick Mahomes. Oh, which one is it? Again, this happens every time in the media, and I'm starting to see it more and more, even with myself that I've done in times past. I look at my old takes, and be like, yo, I wasn't as objective I thought I was. Now it's coming full circle. If you agree with this opinion and say he's not telling the truth, this team is trash, and that's absolutely right, 1,000%. But when we get to another topic that can expose a difference or maybe show an error, a change in between your opinion from before to this one, and they use an argument, I would be the one to be like, hey, I mean, that is valid. You did say this and this one, and now you're saying this and this one. But the problem, and I think what happens in our media out here, and the reason why these opinions that come from, is that when they're honest, they get killed. Because somebody is basically that's their feeling friendly. Oh, we can rag on them more and more, boom, boom. When they lie, they get ragged on still, but then you're telling them how they really are feeling. And it's like, well, you don't want it either way. Which one you want it? You just which one you want, because you can't have both. And our opinions out here are trying to have both. And it's just very wow, like wow.
All right. Any more thoughts on this topic before we move on to the next one? We got 2 more clips that we got to get to for Sports Moron of the Week.
I say let's move, man.
All right. So let's go to this clip. Number 93 on the New Orleans Saints. Yanking on the leg of quarterback Justin Herbert. And let's not forget, he did the same thing to Saquon Barkley earlier in the season. I just think there's no room for this type of plays in football. The play is pretty much over at that point, especially on this one. You see him, he's already in the end zone. He's still yanking on the guy's leg, and this just kind of goes with the New Orleans Saints DNA. You know, this is a team that was in a bounty gate for trying to injure players on purpose. And then you just continue to see stuff like this. It's dirty. It's nasty. It shouldn't happen. There's no room for it in the NFL.
So what's interesting about this?
Go ahead, Jay.
What's interesting about this is that I was talking to my barber about this yesterday. Jonathan Vilma and a couple other players came out and said they weren't out there to try to intentionally target. The opinion to target them was not from them. It was from the coaches, and it's a special. There's a documentary about it they have out where they were given incentives to do this here and there, to this here and there. So that's what stemmed from them. So it made me think like, you know what? Yeah. But what also it goes to another thing is that Keyshawn Johnson said it. It happened to Akeem Hebron and stuff. There's an ugly side to this game that doesn't always get shown. And they talking about, you don't know what happens at the bottom of those piles. You're talking about crushing private parts, poking people in their eyes. And unfortunately, there's an ugly side to this game where some people will try to take advantage of everything they got. Okay, that's been around since the dawn of time with this game because Jack Tatum headhunt people. Ronnie Lott used to lay people out, got his finger out taken care of, and then he was out here, and then he's still playing. You were cool with that, but you don't have issue with this. And I'm not saying it's wrong, because personally, I have issue with that, and I have issue with this one, because ankle is the problem is what Justin has been killing for all this time. And he did look like he was trying to hurt him. And it did look like an injury to the point where it could really seriously possibly mess his leg up for life. And Bradley Bozeman literally saw that, and he was starting to choke homeboy like any lineman would normally do, except that's how you knew it was actually changed. That's how you knew it was serious, because most of the time, a dude will sit there and just push you and whatever. He came and went and was kind of choking, which means he had to feel like what he was really doing was seriously, intentionally trying to hurt Justin. And so that just, there's no call for that, because it's no call for that, but it's like, unfortunately, it sheds light onto an ugly game that we don't see. Because trust and believe, when I always play football, I always wondered what happens when you're in the bottom of those piles. What happens? It's crazy.
And see, this is something where it gets brought up, and then JJ, you hit it, man. Something like this happens, and like, come on, now, there's no excuse for that at all. And then good on 75 for taking a quarterback.
It's the same guy that does the same thing on this play.
Yeah. 75 for the Chargers should have choked them out. I would not have been mad at them one bit. See, because this happens and then you know what's going to come up. Bounty Gate, you know? Like they kind of have that cloud hanging over them. Well, if you're a fan of the rival of the Saints, of course you're going to bring that up. There's no room in the game for that. I was not a fan of back when he was playing ball, Dominican Sue's antics, but usually players like that, they end up getting theirs. He's going to meet with the wrong offensive lineman, and he might risk a game trying to take him out. I know when you have an offensive lineman who will ride or die for their quarterback, they're not scared to get into a fist fight, to get into a scuffle with anything. So I'm most certainly the Saints hope they're in for a physical war with somebody that involves fists and feet, because he's going to run into the wrong team that's going to ride for their quarterback. And especially if he injures their quarterback, oh, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. You think karma hit Tyreek Stevenson? Wait till it hits homeboy. Go ahead, JT.
All right, we got one more. So those were all pretty much NFL related. We don't talk too much about baseball on the show, but during the World Series, something really controversial took place with some fans in the stands yanking on the arm of Mookie Betts and trying to pry the ball, basically. Ended in a fan interference call as the Dodgers would go on to win the World Series. Let's take a look at the clip real quick, and then we can give our reaction.
There's the fly ball. Mook's got it. And, oh no, my arm. Yeah, that's an out. And then they called it out. Yeah, absolutely, that right there.
Man.
And then they're trying to sit there and justify it like
they're going to show the replay of it. And just look at the look on this guy's face. He knows exactly what he's doing. He has no remorse. This is just dangerous. The way that this is just dangerous. Something can happen on this play, and Mookie Betts could really get injured.
Exactly.
So that's really what it comes down to for me. And these fans are just being clowns, and I hope that these guys are not welcome back at the any MLB game after what took place.
Actually, because this came up on the Sideline Sports Show earlier this week, the Yankees were actually going to allow them back in for Game 5. But the Major League Baseball stepped in and said, no, they are banned. So good on them for not the MLB. Now, the MLB did say, like, okay, refund these guys or whatever. I wouldn't have refunded them. Fuck them and their money. No, I wouldn't have refunded them at all. They tried to they tried to seriously, like, injure, in my opinion, because like you said, they could have injured a man. You know what I mean?
They're very fortunate that nothing happened.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
That's all I can say.
Yeah, because if Mook would have gotten injured, and then next thing you know, there's a lawsuit coming down, and yeah. And it wouldn't be a case of, guys richer than them suing the populace. Well, you shouldn't have been interfering inside of the play to where you could have injured. And then the other guy grabs Mook's other hand. Like, what? So yeah, I'm not going to sit here and say that, like, I don't get it or anything like that. I totally do. And it 100% was uncalled for. JJ, what do you got?
Hold on. Yeah, you just put it. Can you put it back
I'll
up?
play the clip one more time for you.
No. I know what it is. And at the end of the day, personally for me, until we know what it is. You guys about to get swept that game, and you were feeling some type of way. So you said, I'm gonna do anything and everything I can to make sure my team gets a chance. That's all that was. It's funny to me because it's like, all I want to sit there and say, and Jay, you'll love this. Woo, woo, woo. Oh, woo, 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 woo. It's okay. I know it sucks because you were about to get swept and you're at home, but that's what that is. On the flip side, as a response, I would say, yeah, you can't do this again. The next time you do this, we're going to probably have to remove your seat and move you to a different one, or not have you come into any more home games for the remainder of the year, because that's not cool. That's not cool. And I would go to both of them because, yeah, the guy trying to take the ball, one thing. But the other guy taking his hand, mind you, Mookie is he's not on the ground. He's suspended in the air a little bit. And it's like, yo, calm down. If you have, your issues are not with them.
Mm-hmm.
So you made a bonehead move. And I think, of course, unfortunately, he's not remorseful about it, which I don't expect him to because that's how most people typically are about those things. Because there's the people out here that says, players, y'all should just be able to deal with whatever we do or whatever the case may be. But now you turn around and get mad at the fans for having that mentality and doing whatever they want to do to these players. Now we might start to see maybe these players have a reason for saying and being honest about how they feel and saying, no, that's not cool. Maybe Russell Westbrook was right when he did what he did. Because at the end of the day, you got to chill. But with them, if you're a person that wants to really rag on them, you can sit there and say, bro, your team got swept so bad, you lost your job, but you lost your ticket for the next game for this joint. And your team went and lost the series because they lost the very next game. So that's just, hey, that's what you want to do. Go ahead and do it. Do it.
Well,
all right, ladies and gentlemen, that wraps us up for the longest ever Sports Moron segment. Hope you guys all enjoyed that. I certainly did. When we get back, though, let's rank the best fast food chicken nuggets. What's your favorite? Gonna get into it when we get back. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm the one that's responsible for this topic because I actually was eating lunch and I was eating chicken nuggets and I was like, you know what? What do you guys think is the best chicken nuggets? You got McDonald's, you got Chick-fil-A, Wendy's, I guess some other places. But who's your favorite?
Oh man, Wendy's was high on my list, still is, because like the
I
crunch
like the
game
spicy
is
nuggets
still,
from Wendy's.
yeah, the Wendy's spicy or the regular. The crunch game on it actually is pretty underrated. But I'm gonna actually have to go and say, even though they are smaller in size of all of them, I'm gonna say Chick-fil-A. Something about the sweet batter that they use, the sweet dark brown batter. It's second to none in my opinion. You can dip it in. I haven't eaten a whack dipping sauce from Chick-fil-A ever in history. And granted, yes, that's all their chicken, but as far as chicken nuggets goes, I'm gonna go with Chick-fil-A. Wendy's is probably a strong number 2. Number 3, I probably am gonna say, Popeyes actually isn't bad, but a strong number 3. Oh shoot! I can't say Burger King because they do chicken fries now. They don't do chicken nuggets. You know what? I have to think of a number 3. Y'all come back around to me. But my top 2, I would say Chick-fil-A and Wendy's.
So if people don't, this podcast, and Jay knows this very well, I'm going to keep my comments about Chick-fil-A away because I've lost a friend because of Chick-fil-A for a long time, and then we just became friends after like 5 or 6 years because of it. But anyway, so I don't really eat their chicken nuggets, so I don't really know it. But number 1 for me, I will have to say, is McDonald's. I love their chicken nuggets. That's the best part of the whole place for me. And 2 is Wendy's. Big fan of their chicken nuggets. At the end of the day, big fan of Wendy's, period. But number 1 and 2 is hands down those two. Those two for sure. Honorable mention to Raising Cane's. I believe it's Raising Cane's.
Raising Cane's?
No, not Raising Cane's. Zaxby's.
Oh, okay,
Zaxby's.
I was about to say. Raising Cane's don't even season they Jones, man. But Zaxby's, you good.
Yeah.
You know what? McDonald's stopped being in my top 3 when they took dark meat away, and I know that was over a decade ago. But when they stopped doing dark meat chicken, that's when the chicken nugget that's when they dropped out of the top 3.
Or I'm going to give my list and then I'm going to ask the next question. Okay, I think I am with JJ on this one though. I will put McDonald's McNuggets number 1. I think most of the time when I do go to McDonald's, I only get the McNuggets or a McChicken. I don't really get their burgers and stuff like that. But I'll get me a cool 10-piece McNugget with 1 honey mustard and 1 buffalo sauce, and I'm good. Then spicy nuggets at Wendy's. Fantastic. Always get the ghost pepper ranch sauce. I know we talked about the fast food sauce like a few episodes ago. I love the ghost pepper ranch. If I could get the McNuggets with the ghost pepper ranch, I'm good. Now, I could say Chick-fil-A by default, but since I know this debate has been made throughout the world, when it comes to boneless wings,
Oh.
do you consider boneless wings as a type of chicken nugget?
Of
'Cause
course.
If it is, the number 3, Wingstop.
You know what?
I
Yeah,
bet you didn't see that coming.
that's what we doing. I totally didn't see that coming, but I agree 100%. Yeah, Wingstop would be it, because to me they're not boneless wings. They are chicken nuggets, just slightly bigger. That's all.
They just
Nothing
have
more.
a fancy name.
Nothing more, nothing less. So
That's
yeah.
it.
Yep, that was my
I don't like boneless, period. And yes, there are chicken nuggets, but no, thank you.
That
I'm
would be
sorry.
a good topic. We should have
I
the
just-
best wings debate on another
Oh.
show. We did
Oh,
chicken
yeah.
nuggets tonight.
That's
But on a
Unfair
new episode.
because you haven't experienced all of them. You know, and I'm saying that because I want to experience
That's
all of
true.
them. My
That's
belly
true.
would appreciate that.
That's true.
You got to
But
give
that's
like
a debate
5
that-
places. So we need to say,
That's the
I'm
debate
sorry,
that we can have.
we need to put
that's
all
the
of the
debate
5
that-
places we know in
Yeah.
common, and then we rank them. Like 5 places we all have eaten wings from. And
Yeah, but
rank
here's the problem. I feel like
No.
there's gonna be too many spots, like local spots that we've been to, like where we live,
Sure.
that people aren't gonna know, and you're gonna say, "I swear this is the best place." So whenever you guys come to visit Philadelphia, there's a place down the street where I live. I go there a lot to watch the Eagles game. Man, some of the best wings I've ever had.
Yeah, see, it be the mom and pop, and then also you got to figure there are some franchises that are only regional. Like for example, Bojangles. Bojangles is like known in the
I've
mid
had
South.
Bojangles before though.
Yeah,
tough.
you know what I mean. So like we don't have a Bojangles down here. It's more like a mid South kind of thing. It's prevalent in like North Carolina. So
Yeah,
you have those regional chains also.
yeah. Bojangles is partners with the Carolina Panthers, I think.
Yeah, but I haven't had Bojangles. I haven't. I hear it's the bomb. I hope one day to taste it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's all that we have time for you guys today.
James,
Yeah.
huge favor, and I'll only be 1 or 2 minutes. Can you solo screen me for a second? I got a message for the people.
All right.
Okay, so I'm pretty sure you all know, as everyone should know, that coming up next Tuesday night is the most important night of the American calendar year that comes every 4 years. Now, I'm not here to preach religion or parties or anything like that, because at Sideline Sports, we are not political, okay? But all I'm going to tell you is do what you want to do. If you want to exercise your right to vote, do it. If you ain't a favorite of anybody and you elect not to vote, do that too. Stay at home, okay? All I'm asking is don't let anyone shame you into doing something you don't want to do. Don't let anyone shame you into voting if you don't want to vote. Don't let anyone shame you into voting for the left or the right or anything like that. Everyone was eligible to vote since they were 18 years old, right? So exercise that. It's your choice, okay? A no vote is a vote in itself. My liberation theology professor taught that a few years back when I was in college, okay? So all I'm saying is do what is best for you. And that's all I got.
All right, Denzel, appreciate the message and not making light of anything you said at all. But I want to close this show by saying this. I will be so glad when this is over, because I am so tired of every 5 seconds all the ads and Trump this and Harris that, like just all day long, just drives me crazy. I'll be happy when it's over.
Agreed. All right, we can wrap this up.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys for tuning in, and we will see you next Friday. Actually, we'll see you next Wednesday for Picked Off, and then we'll also see you next Friday for another episode for all of us with the Gauntlet and Sideline Sports Network. We will see you guys on the next episode.
Good night,
Y'all.
Shanghai, China. Shout out Zimbabwe. Shout